welcome to the Dice Tower. We're going to be doing 5 more games here. We're in the top 15, so we're doing 11 through 15 today. These are games that were almost good enough to make the top 10, but just barely missed out. Most of them have already been in the top 10 at some point. So we're going to do 5 of my games and 5 of someone else's. I'm not sure who.
Melody!
Oh yeah, hers.
Number 15! Members League!
In Heroes Unlimited, you're trying to kill a variety of villains. Most villains are numbered all the way up to 48 or higher. And what you're doing is you're putting together different villains made up of different torsos and heads that you put together. And when you do so, you get a number. For example, this superhero gives you a total of -1. While this superhero here, let's see if we can find the rest of their body parts, gives you a total of... Alright, well we got 4 so far. Let's find another middle part for the guy. Here we go. This one gives you a total of 10. Alright, so 10 plus -1 is 9. Well, that's still not good enough to kill any of these heroes, but you'll eventually get there. Not to mention, you can always play special ability cards like this one, which will multiply him times 4, so now he's 40, which gets you a lot closer to 48. And so players, what they're trying to do is they're trying to put out superheroes, and the artwork is hilarious. It has a real comic book feel to it, and it also helps teaching kids math.
I really like this game because you're building superheroes to kill the villains, and the artwork on it is really funny and cool. And when you build up the superheroes, you just laugh at how they look, because even like Superman, they put Superman in and he just looks hilarious, and it's just a fun and funny game to play. Number 15 again! Commands and Colors.
Commands and Colors Ancients is a battle cry system from Richard Borg, and this one takes what he does into the ancient world. Now this is 4 boxes worth. They're full of wooden blocks, and it is a fantastic, wonderful experience. Now you may notice that in previous years I had Commands and Colors tied with Battlelore, a game previously produced by Days of Wonder, now produced by Fantasy Flight. Battlelore's dropped off my top 100 list, not because it's really that bad of a game, but because I just don't play it that much anymore. Commands and Colors really completes what I need from the system. It has tactics, it has lines, sweeping lines, multiple battles. Between all the stuff I have here in Commands and Colors, I'm never going to play everything twice. And I don't have to search through hundreds and thousands of little cards to figure out what everything does. This just seems to be a bit more cleaner. So Commands and Colors, a great 2-player tactical war game, one of the best ever designed. Who cares what war gamers tell you? This game is a lot of fun.
Number 14! Zulareto!
In Zulareto, you are, what else? Building a zoo. And you need to do that by putting animals in your zoo. And you do that by having these little boats or little cargo trucks in the middle of the table. And on your turn, you add a tile to one of these, or you take one. So, for example, if this one has 2 monkeys in it, I say, oh, I want some monkeys. I want to grab it now, but if I wait, I can get a 3rd animal in there. But if I wait, someone else might grab it. Or they might put an animal there that I don't want, because you only have so much room in your zoo for animals. This game has a ton of expansions, which we've managed to fit all into the regular box, but there's tons of variants. But the game is very pleasant and appealing to people because of the zoo theme.
I really like this game because you get to build the zoo, and it's fun to see the people come in and look at all the different types of animals. And I like the expansions because they get to make the game a little longer and the zoo bigger, and it's just fun to play that way. Number 14 again! Agricola.
Agricola, the farmer game. Pretty hefty box here. Chock full of... Oh, okay, I have to show you some of this. People always complain that I'm not showing enough of my games, but I'm telling you, there in this game, which I have buffed up, we have sheep, we have bricks, we have cows, we have fish and chicken, we have stones, we have... What else we got in here? Carrots and vegetables. And we have much, much more. There's all kinds of neat pieces in this box. And in Agricola, you are basically building a farm and trying to outbuild everybody else. And because of all the different cards that are in the game always plays differently each time. So it's a wonderful thematic game, even though I wouldn't expect a game about farming to be that high on my list. Agricola is.
Number 13! Igor, the life of the party.
Igor or Igor, the life of the party game, is a trick-taking game in which you're playing cards of different suits and different numbers trying to win tricks. But what sets this game apart from other games is that it has rules in place. For example, it says when you play a card that has Brain and Scamper on it, then you must yell out, "My name is not Brian!" Or here, you lose Lunmularian, which is money. Or here, when you win a trick, you must brag about how evil you are. And so different of these rules will be in play during the course of the game, and you have to remember to follow all them, or the other players will catch you. So it's a trick-taking game for parties.
I like this game because when you get a roll, it's funny to see all the people do it, and you get a little embarrassed when you do it yourself. The cards actually have real pictures from the movie, and it's a fun game to play that way. 13 for Daddy! Say anything.
Say Anything is a great, great party game. Probably, well, I guess it is, the highest party game on my list. It is a game in which you ask a question like, what is my favorite food? Or what is the worst thing you can possibly say to someone that you're dating? Everybody will write down an answer to that question. They put them in the middle, and then everyone votes on the answer they think you're going to pick. So it's very similar to Apples, but also has a bit of wits and wagers thrown in, and the result is astounding. Play with somewhat creative people, and this game is absolutely fun. Play with creative people, and you'll find no better game on the market. Say Anything, a party game that is going to be still around in 20 years and still selling well. Tremendous.
Number 12! Small World.
Small World is about a world that's getting too small, and players will be using different races as they come on to attack other players and knock their races off the board. Each race has a special power, a special ability, but as the game progresses, you will take these powers and put them together with different special abilities. Like I might have Stout Orcs, or I might have Swamp Orcs, or I might have Swamp Trolls, or I might have Stout Trolls. And the combinations are endless and go on and on. The game works just as well for 2 players as it does for up to 5. And it seems like a war game, but it's simple enough that children can understand it.
I like this game because you have all these different types of races to conquer the world and trying to attack others and trying to get as much people as you can on one space so nobody else can conquer that space. And it's a fun game to play a lot, and since the logo actually kind of fits the game, it's a world of slaughter after all. It's kind of fun to me, and I just like that game. Number 12. Twilight Struggle.
Twilight Struggle has really increased in the past years that it's been on my top 10 list. I think it debuted at number 86, and now here it is at number 12. Almost cracked my top 10. I seriously thought about including it because I really like the game that much. Twilight Struggle, when you look at it, looks like a war game. If I was going through the store, I might glance it over. The theme would draw me in, and I'd look at it and say, a war game. It's not. It's area control, but more than that, it is politics. You are playing your opponent, and if I move in Africa, you sit there and say, why is he moving in Africa? I gotta respond. I really can't imagine anybody designing a game about the Cold War that's better than this one. It is just absolutely a glorious 2-player experience, and every game plays differently and yet has such historical overtones that you will just find yourself feeling the emotions that the different presidents and premiers throughout history have faced. Twilight Struggle, if you've never got a chance to play it, you say, I don't know about these historical war-type games. Believe me, this is the kind of game that I think anybody can play at least once and get a full appreciation for this time period. An absolute gem of a game, Twilight Struggle.
11. Magic the Gathering.
This is what Melanie and I got to start playing Magic the Gathering, this instant collection of 1,000 Magic cards we got from a game place, and we also bought some starter decks. And so we have piles of different cards. These are the different cards we have of each of the colors that we play. We don't play black, but we play white, red, green, and blue. And they're lots of fun to build our own decks. And for those of you who've never played Magic the Gathering, you're using different cards to put different warriors into play who will then fight the other person. You can actually play without warriors and just attack your opponent directly, but you're using 4 different colors, and each color has specific abilities. Like green has lots of different creatures that you can get out on the board. Red lets you attack your opponent directly. Blue is kind of tricky. White heals. And different things like that. You can form all different decks that you want. But Melanie and I aren't really interested in the collectible part. We just like to build decks and play each other with them.
I like this game because it's another deck building card game. And you're trying to collect all these different cards to build different types of decks, get different creatures at different times, and you never know what's going to come up. And it's just a fun game to play because you're using different characters to block or attack the other opponent, and it's a fun game to play. Number 11. Faces.
Okay, I said that Say Anything was the best party game. Here is really my favorite party game, Faces. But there's some caveats to that, because while Say Anything probably is the best produced party game, Faces is my favorite party game because of what I've done to it. I've produced using Google and Photoshop and artscal.com. I produced my own set of cards for Faces, and they are hysterical. So I play Faces almost similar to Apples to Apples, but instead of using words, I use pictures on people's cards. And there's just hilarious Faces all throughout there. I think I have about 600 cards, and it's just a hit everywhere I go. This is one of my most prized possessions. If I go to any kind of conference, I'll take this with me just because it's that funny. So, my number 11 game is Faces, a really terrific party game. Well, there you go. Some more of our top favorite games. We hope you enjoyed those. These are just games that we're never going to get rid of. Really great games. Games that almost made the top 10. But come back next time, because then we will start the top 10 games of all time according to the most authoritative people about board games there is. Well, or at least us anyway. See you then.
Tune into our next show for more Top 10 gaming goodness, or check out our website at www.thedicetower.com for more reviews and top 10 lists. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.